All right, thank you. So I don't propose to plan. I don't propose to talk for quite as long as my colleagues, but what I would like to do is say something about the way that we use a particular brand of AI at Amazon to actually get things done. So I guess my position on the hype around AI is that there's this very general idea of a superhuman intelligence that has general reasoning capability that can do amazing things. That may or may not show up at any point between now and 100 years' time. But what we're interested in at Amazon, and what I'm particularly interested in, is this notion of building quite specific intelligences, models, ways of solving problems that help our customers out. And so we have this philosophy of being the world's most customer-centric company, but I think really what that means is what we try to do is think of problems that people have in the real world and think of ways that we can solve those problems. And I think machine learning, AI, science generally fits into that paradigm. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what we might do. So in order to do customer-focused science, we first need to understand who our customers are, right? And so for Amazon, we have lots of customers. We can start with the idea of customers as the people who go to that big shop on the internet and buy stuff, the everything store. We have about 300 million of those worldwide, and they go to Amazon.com or .co.uk, but also maybe the Kindle store or Amazon Music, those kinds of things. They have lots of problems and we can help solve them, and I'll say something about them. Another group of customers that Amazon has are what we call their marketplace customers. So many people would think of Amazon as the equivalent of a shop that has merchandise that they sell. Actually, about half of what's sold on the Amazon website is by third-party sellers who are using Amazon as a platform, as a marketplace, to sell their own things. And those kinds of people have quite different problems to the shoppers, right? They care more about how we can help them facilitate the selling of goods than the buying of goods. There's this fascinating and expanding space of digital customers, right? So Amazon is a platform through which you can distribute creative works. So whether that's video, books, music, increasingly games and things like that. And there's all kinds of fascinating applications of AI and machine learning in the space of content understanding and content creation that we're starting to see. And then the other one that you'll probably be familiar with as a kind of tech literate audience is there's AWS as well. So AWS is a cloud computing business where you can get access to on-demand computing services in the cloud, use them as much as you want, as high scale as you want, and then they go away and you're done with them. And I think there are fascinating near-term or even present applications of machine learning in all of these domains, and they all relate to specific customer problems. So what are we actually doing? I mean, the machine learning is sort of revolutionizing internal business functions as well as helping our customers. So you may have seen that there are various parts of the logistics operation at Amazon that are also using automation, some primitive version of intelligence, whether it's the Kiva robots in the fulfillment center that are doing jobs that we would never really want humans to do, moving stuff, picking things out of boxes to ship to you. But also, there's been this very publicized Primaire program that tries to deal with the last mile delivery using automated technology. There's all kinds of devices. What I don't have here is a picture of the Alexa, but the Alexa is now arguably the most famous device that Amazon built. So it relies on a form of intelligence that exists today, the ability to do speech recognition, natural language understanding, speech synthesis are all some kind of AI. And a thing that we've started looking at in Edinburgh is how can you use algorithms and machine learning techniques to help with things like the HR processes. They're now big enough and hard enough problems that I think automation has some really promising applications. Also, back to the customers that I was talking about earlier, these are all of the different ways that we use some kind of machine learning to help our customers across all the different areas of the business. So I'm not going to say too much about each one of these in turn, but in the retail, seller and marketplace businesses, the catalog business, the digital ecosystems that I was talking about, there are real applications of machine learning, AI, that exist today that allow some combination of humans and machines to create experiences that could never exist if people were doing them. And I think that's the real promise of AI that either is here or increasingly we can drive over the next few years, right? It's about using some combination of manual and automated intelligences to drive experiences that could never exist if you required people to do this stuff alone. So, for instance, we can accurately forecast the demand of products in the future so that we don't run out of stock of a popular product just when you want to buy it. Or if you're a seller, we can tell the difference between, we can try to tell the difference between real sellers who have genuine goods for sale and people who are selling counterfeit goods or are using it as a money laundering scheme, things like that. The digital stuff is fascinating because the use of AI and machine learning in the digital space starts to actually layer value and new experiences on top of existing content. So you might have seen, if you're watching a video on Amazon Video, you can pause the thing and you'll see all the actors who are in that particular scene, and you can see who the director of the movie is and things like that. The Kindle experience now will have summarizations of the narrative, the ability to jump around and look at mentions of particular characters. That stuff is all powered by AI, and what you've got is an experience that could never exist if we didn't have this technology. And so it's a super important strategic area for the company. Automation, this kind of low-level, simple, near-term version of AI is woven into the company's DNA. And continuing to grow that capability is a strategic priority. And so in order to do that, we are both continuing to try and look around corners for customer problems that we don't have solutions for yet, but where some kind of innovation in the space of machine learning and AI would help us out, but also stay in touch with the research community and bring in the best of knowledge that exists to help us. And so I'm just going to very briefly say what we do in Edinburgh that you might be interested in. We have a recommendations project that's rethinking how we solve recommendations problems using exactly the kinds of models that Guido was talking about, these giant complicated neural networks to help uncover interests that customers might have across hundreds of millions of products. We've got uses of advertising where we're trying to decide whether it's worth showing you an advert on a third-party website and how much we should bid for that advert and what product we should show an advert for. That business is run out of Edinburgh. We've got teams looking at the HR space, so you might or might not know this. I can't remember where we are in terms of global employers today. I think we might be number 2 or number 3, but at current growth rates we'll be number 1 within a couple of years. And at that scale, your HR processes become strained in a way that no human can ever manage them, right? And so what we want to look for is how can we use automation to help manage that process. But as soon as you do that, you're into this realm of, well, now we've got machines making decisions that have an impact on people's lives, and so you need to think very carefully about how you design the algorithms that are going to do that. So we think very carefully about designing fair algorithms that do the right thing. And my personal feeling on that is the promise of automation and machine learning is that we can build systems that we can introspect at large scale that actually are going to be much fairer than the kind of ragged, manual, inconsistent process that's being applied today. We also have teams dealing with catalog data that are trying to group together similar items from catalog metadata that's full of noise, and there's kind of adversarial dynamics going on because the people putting things in the catalog want outcomes which are different for the customer who's trying to browse through it. So that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.